And Naboth the Jezreelite had one vineyard beside the threshing floor of King Achab of Samaria. And Achab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give me your vineyard, and it will be to me for a garden of vegetables, because it is nearer my house, and I will give you another vineyard better than it. But if it seems pleasing before you, I will give you money in exchange for this your vineyard, and it will be to me for a garden of vegetables. And Naboth said to Achab, May it not be to me from my God to give you the inheritance of my fathers. And the spirit of Achab became troubled, and he lay down on his bed and covered his face, and did not eat bread. And his wife Jezebel came into him and spoke to him, Why is your spirit troubled, and you are not eating bread? And he said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite, saying, Give me your vineyard for money, but if you prefer, I will give you another vineyard for it. And he said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And his wife Jezebel said to him, Do you now thus act the king over Israel? Get up, eat bread, and be yourself. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. And she wrote a document in Achab's name, and sealed it with his seal, and sent the document to the elders and the freemen who lived with Naboth. And it was written in the document, saying, Fast a fast, and seat Naboth at the head of the people, and seat 2 men, sons of transgressors, opposite him, and have them testify against him, saying, You have blessed God and king, and let them take him out and stone him, and let him die. And the men of his city, the elders and the freemen who lived in his city, did as Jezebel sent to them, just as it was written in the documents that she sent to them. They called a fast, and seated Naboth at the head of the people. And 2 men, sons of transgressors, came and sat opposite him, and testified against him, saying, You have blessed God and king. And they took him outside the city, and stoned him with stones, and he died. And they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth has been stoned and is dead. And it happened, when Jezebel heard, that she said to Achab, Get up, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give you for money. For Naboth is not alive, for he is dead. And it happened, when Achab heard that Naboth the Jezreelite was dead, that he tore his garments and put on sackcloth. And it happened after these things that Achab arose, and went down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to possess it. And the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise and go down to meet King Achab of Israel, who is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, for he has gone down there to possess it. And you shall speak to him, saying, This is what the Lord says, since you murdered and took possession. Therefore, this is what the Lord says, In every place where swine and dogs licked up the blood of Naboth, their dogs will lick up your blood, and the prostitutes will wash themselves in your blood. And Achab said to Elijah, Have you found me, O my enemy? And he said, I have found you, because you have vainly sold yourself to do what is evil before the Lord, to provoke him to anger. This is what the Lord says, Behold, I am bringing disaster on you, and I will burn after you, and will cut off from Achab every one who urinates against a wall, both shut up and one left in Israel. And I will render your house like the house of Jeroboam, son of Naboth, and like the house of Baasha, son of Achiah, concerning the provocations with which you provoked, and you made Israel sin. And to Jezebel the Lord spoke, saying, The dogs shall eat her by the fortification of Jezreel. The dead of Achab in the city the dogs shall eat, and his dead on the plain the birds of the air shall eat. Yet Achab did act foolishly when he sold himself to do what was evil before the Lord, as his wife Jezebel led him astray. And he acted most abominably in going after abominations, according to all that the Amorites did, whom the Lord utterly destroyed from before the sons of Israel. And because of the word, when Achab was smitten with remorse from before the Lord, he went weeping, and he tore his tunic, and girded himself with sackcloth on his body, and fasted and put on sackcloth in the day on which he smote Naboth the Jezreelite. And a word of the Lord by the hand of his slave Elijah came concerning Achab. And the Lord said, Have you seen how Achab is smitten with remorse from before me? I will not bring the disaster in his days, but in his son's days I will bring the disaster. And Hadad's son gathered all his force together, and went up and laid siege against Samaria, and 32 kings with him, and every horse and chariot. And they went up and laid siege against Samaria, and fought against it. And he sent into the city to King Achab of Israel, and said to him, This is what Hadad's son says, Your silver and your gold are mine, and your wives and your children are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, As you spoke, O Lord King, I am yours, and all that is mine. And the messengers came again and said, This is what Hadad's son says, I have sent to you, saying, You shall give me your silver and your gold, and your wives and your children, for I will send my servants to you tomorrow at this time. And they shall search your house, and the houses of your servants, and it will be the desirable objects of their eyes, on which they shall lay their hands, they will take. And the king of Israel called all the elders and said, Indeed know, and see that this man is seeking trouble, for he has sent to me concerning my wives, and concerning my sons, and concerning my daughters. My silver and my gold I did not keep back from him. And the elders and all the people said to him, Do not listen, and do not consent. And he said to the messengers of Hadad's son, Say to your master, All things that you have sent to your slave about at first I will do, but this matter I cannot do. And the men left and returned word to him. And Hadad's son sent back to him, saying, This may the God do to me, and this may he add, if the dust of Samaria will suffice for foxes for all the people, for my footmen. And the king of Israel answered and said, Let it suffice, let not the hunchback boast as he who is straight. And it happened, when he answered him this word, he was drinking, he and all the kings with him, in the booths. And he said to his servants, Build a palisade. And they placed a palisade against the city. And behold, one prophet came up to the king of Israel and said, This is what the Lord says, Have you seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will give it into your hand today, and you shall know that I am the Lord. And Achab said, By whom? And he said, This is what the Lord says, By the lads who serve the district governors. And Achab said, Who shall begin the battle? And he said, You. And Achab mustered the lads who served the district governors, and there were 230. And after these things he mustered the people, every son of power, 60,000. And he went out at noon, and Hadad's son was drinking himself drunk in Succoth, he and the 32 kings allied with him. And the lads who served the district governors went out among the first. And they sent and reported to the king of Syria, saying, Men have come out from Samaria. And he said to them, If these have come out for peace, take them alive, and if they have come out for war, take them alive, and do not let the lads who serve the district governors come out of the city. And the force behind them smote, each the one beside him, and he repeated, each the one beside him, and Syria fled, and Israel pursued them. And Hadad's son, king of Syria, escaped on a horse of a horseman. And the king of Israel went out, and took all the horses and the chariots, and struck a great blow in Syria. And the prophet approached the king of Israel and said, Strengthen yourself and consider, and see what you will do, for when the year turns, Hadad's son, king of Syria, will come up against you. And the servants of the king of Syria said, The God of Israel is a God of mountains, and not a God of valleys. Therefore he prevailed over us. But if we fight against them on level ground, then we shall prevail over them. And do this, send away the kings, each to their place, and put satraps in place of them, and we will exchange with you a form like the force that you have lost, both horse for horse and chariot for chariot. And we will fight against them on level ground, and we shall prevail over them. And he heeded their voice and did so. And it happened when the year turned, that Hadad's son mustered Syria and went up to Aphekah for battle against Israel. And the sons of Israel mustered and went out to meet them. And Israel encamped opposite them like 2 flocks of goats, and Syria filled the country. And the man of God approached and said to the king of Israel, This is what the Lord says, because Syria said, The Lord the God of Israel is a God of mountains and not a God of valleys. I will give this great force into your hand, and you shall know that I am the Lord. And they encamped opposite one another 7 days. And it happened on the 7th day that the battle drew near, and Israel smote Syria, 100,000 foot soldiers in 1 day. And the rest fled into the city of Aphekah, and the wall fell on 27,000 of the men that were left. And Hadar's son fled and entered the house into the inner chamber of the bedroom. And he said to his servants, I know that the kings of Israel are merciful kings. Let us now put sackcloths around our waists and ropes on our heads, and go out to the king of Israel. Perhaps he will spare our lives. And they tied sackcloths around their waists and put ropes on their heads, and said to the king of Israel, Your slave Hadar's son says, Indeed, let my soul live. And he said, Is he still alive? He is my brother. And the men practiced ornithomancy, and they hastened and seized upon the word from his mouth and said, Hadar's son is your brother. And he said, Go in and bring him. And Hadar's son came out to him, and they made him come up to him into the chariot. And he said to him, I will restore to you the towns that my father took from your father, and you shall establish streets for yourself in Damascus, as my father did in Samaria, and I will send you off with a covenant. So he made a covenant with him and sent him off. And by a word of the Lord, one person of the sons of the prophets said to his neighbor, Indeed, smite me. And the person refused to smite him. And he said to him, Because you have not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, you will depart from me, and a lion will smite you. And he went out from him, and a lion found him and smote him. And he found another person and said, Now smite me. And the person smote him, and he smote and smashed him. And the prophet departed and waited for the king of Israel along the road, and bound his eyes with a bandage. And it happened, as the king was passing by, that he shouted to the king and said, Your slave went out to the army for the battle, and behold, a man brought a man to me and said to me, Guard this man, but if escaping he escapes, then your life shall be for his life, or else you shall pay a talent of silver. And it happened, your slave looked around here and there, and he was not. And the king of Israel said to him, Behold, you have also slain the ambushes on my side. And he hastened and removed the bandage away from his eyes. And the king of Israel recognized him, that he was one of the prophets. And he said to him, This is what the Lord says, Because you carried off a man destined for destruction at your hand, your life shall also be for his life, and your people for his people. And the king of Israel departed troubled and faint, and came to Samaria.